All right, Matt guys, back on a live stream, and we're talking
Yes,
about
sir.
equipment today. So let's jump on into it. If anybody has questions about equipment as we go along, to clarify something we're talking about, or another question entirely, but we are dialoguing about live streaming equipment. All right, my brother.
Indubitably.
Number one, good to see you. Number two, what questions we got? Where are we starting today?
So, just for the crowd has information, I got a couple of people lined up for a podcast, and I have a studio place that I have rented out, and so I need a portable podcast equipment that I can take from my apartment, car, studio, apartment, car, or car, apartment. And so I've done podcasts before, and the way that I did it caused me to have hours of editing, because what I did is I recorded the video from the all three different angles, and then I had the audio, of course. So what I had to do was go into Premiere Pro and take all three angles, edit each angle during all the times that I wanted the camera to switch, then align all the audio to the different three different videos I had recorded at the same time. And so to edit like a 2-hour podcast was taking me like, I don't even remember. It was like 5, 6, 7 hours. And that's the reason why I never really continued my podcast was because that was not something manageable.
Yeah.
Now, being with you live in your studio that you switch on the fly. So you're able to communicate your message, hear the other person's message, interpret that, probably think about what you want to say next. So I know it's a skill on its own, but during the videos that you can make at your place, you're able to switch to the most important person and or both people talking, if the conversation's kind of jumping back and forth on the fly. And I would like my podcast to be able to do that, so I don't have to go back in and re-edit and save time and be able to do more content for people.
Yeah. Already. All right. Well, then we'll walk piece by piece through the information. I think, yeah, that post edit is a beast. Some people have a knack for it. I've done it before, but yeah, it's easy to get burnt out, especially people that are social like you. You know, if you get energy from the people, and then you go into that solo endeavor of editing on your own, yeah, it can be a drain on the system. So we could go piece by piece into this, but maybe I could start with the setup from a camera perspective into the video switcher. So the live stream switcher that I'll just pull up here on Amazon. And so what we also want to do is kind of get a price perspective, because what Matt and I discussed off camera was that, hey, like, how much some of this going to cost, right? So the idea is people would probably prefer not to spend a whole lot of money. So we'll look at the low budget options, and then we'll kind of work our way up.
Don't make me sound poor on live stream. He ain't got no job.
It's not poor. It's not poor. It's relatable.
Perspective.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I got a budget of 10 G's.
Dang. Okay. Balling over here. All right. Let me see if I can, how this is going to move on over. Okay. So you could see, are you able to see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I use in my studio is I have this live stream switcher in my studio. So this is $295. So that's the switcher. Now that's the, as we walk through it, I'll talk about a lower budget option. So if you're gonna use, I have Canon cameras in my studio, and if you're gonna go the Canon route, then they need adapters to go from the camera into the ATM Mini. So you think about the camera, the lens, the switcher, and then the adapter that goes to it. And then if you need a dummy battery, those are all separate costs to think through. So this is again the high end route. Can I hear you on this one? I can't hear you, right?
I haven't said anything.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let me see which button I press to get back to the interview with you. Let me see. Adding.
So I need a battery from the camera to the switchboard, or what were you saying?
Okay. So inside to the camera. So from the camera, there's an adapter that's known as a dummy battery. Let me see if I can pull that up for us. Okay, cool. It goes back to this one. All right. So a dummy battery, and so any camera has its battery, but a dummy battery, what it does is it provides that, it provides electricity so that it's always on, plugged in to an electrical outlet. So that's one expense. I can pull up the one I got here. Then you need the cord that goes from the camera into the switcher. So you think about that from it's a camera, lens, dummy battery cord, then it's the cord to the switcher and the switcher. So that's 5 expenses with just one camera. So let me
That's
see.
wonderful.
Let me see if I can pull up the specific ones that I ordered, see if I can narrow that down. All right, yeah, so this one here is, let me go over to that. So this one is $24.56 if I wanted to get me out of the way real quick. I can do that.
That's not too bad.
So that's going to provide your electricity to the camera. Again, the battery ultimately would die out with time, but this one provides it, so it's continually powered. So that's one piece of it. Let me see if I can pull up and then to the Canon camera, at least that I have, it's the mini HDMI, and what the ATM Mini takes is an HDMI. So you're going from the camera is the mini HDMI, so all that is an adapter cord. It's mini HDMI to HDMI. So to run it from the camera to the video switcher.
Oh, the video switcher takes an HDMI?
Video, yes. The live.
So HDMI to mini HDMI.
That's right. So this is the higher end route. When I started, again, videos were again a different quality, not the quality that I'm aiming for right now. But when I started, I was using let me see if I can pull up the webcam. There we go. The Logitech Pro.
Wow, really? That's crazy.
$119, bro. So, $119 for the Logitech Brio 4K webcam. I said this to you offline, but I'll say it to people who are listening. One of my friends who does photography professionally has talked over and over again about the significance of the lighting that you have. He's talked about how you could get better pictures on an iPhone with good lighting than a fancy camera with a fancy lens with bad lighting. So if you get the lighting right, you could get something like this. Now, what this is going to do, what I discovered is it's going to put a little bit of drag on your computer if you have 3 different webcams on them. But then you could purchase let me see what this thing is called. So this is, again, if you look at the cameras I have, it might be $600 or $700. The lenses might be anywhere. I have a cheaper lens that's $100, and I have an expensive one that's like $700. But the this route, again, it's $119. You don't need a lens as far as for a webcam. If you wanted a couple of webcams, your computer may not be able to sustain that while you're streaming. And what I learned about was this other device. It's called a CalDigit, that I ended up using later. Again, it has an expense, but again, depending on the drag that 3 webcams would put on your computer, you might think through getting something different like this. Let me put this up on the screen. And let me get me out of the way. All right. So that's something that would be separate. Again, nobody wants to spend extra money, but depending on the outlets that your laptop has will determine, and the ability, again, the ability to sustain the 3 webcams might result in you getting something like this that can have the additional outlets and not put so much drag on your computer.
What is that, like, basically like a mini server just for that?
Yeah. So what I found out was when I was trying to do this with when I was trying to do it with my cameras, is what I read and learned online is it couldn't sustain the power needed to power each of the cameras that I had at the time.
Got it.
So I was like, okay, like it wouldn't even recognize the 3 different cameras that I was plugging in. So it needed some other device to be able to sustain the power.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Where we at? All right, cool. So that was the question. So portable again. So if you think about what you're transporting, if you go again the 119 route, if you got 3 of those, you're looking at whatever 320. You see if those work and see if your computer's able to maintain having those 3 cams working at the same time. And if you, depending on which streaming device you were using, have you thought through which streaming software you were thinking about using? Were you thinking about OBS or something else?
I don't have a preference at this point.
Okay. So OBS, you can program your keyboard to trigger, again, you could the hotkeys to trigger different things, or you get a stream. Again, Stream Deck is another expense, but you could also, when I first started, when I was using OBS, I would just press things on my keyboard that would trigger the different effects. Now I have the video, so doing it with the webcam, you also wouldn't necessarily need a video switcher. You could just use keys on your keyboard to go through the different angles. So if you even if you have a wireless keyboard, if you're sitting with somebody, you can just know that, hey, that button on the very right, for me on my keyboard, it's the key of enter. I knew enter we're gonna flip over the camera. We'll flip from one camera to another. So like when I was doing it, I had like the 0, the period, and the enter were left, center, right. That I knew my right hand could always just swap over from one angle to another. Now I got the switcher, and I just know, hey, I could go left, center, right with the buttons on the switcher.
Okay.
All right. So if you go webcam first, again, that'll probably save you the most amount of money up front, but still give you the ability to go quality. Now, here's some things to watch out for. If you're doing the webcams, you'll figure out how to position them, because they're built to be like on a laptop. So you'll figure out how to have the other 2 angles. If you connect it to your desk,
Right.
you'll notice if like one of you bumps the desk, then the camera will shake. So you might want to figure out a way to position them based on your setup, so that they're not necessarily connected to the desk if you can avoid it. If they have to be, then they have to be. But what I noticed going the webcam route, and I had them on like some heavy duty cell phone holders, that when they were connected to my desk and I bumped the desk, then the camera would move, a little bit more than I wanted it to.
So you would have this little small webcam on this big sturdy tripod or something?
Well, initially I had it on, so actually I could probably just pull it up on these. It's like a wired cell phone holder. Like it was like a heavy duty wire that's about that thick, that would hold up the webcam. I could even pull that up real quick. See if I could. Cell phone. Oh yeah, there we go.
Why'd you choose Canon over Sony?
one of the guys that I followed on YouTube was a Canon guy over Sony. So I was like, and I think I had talked to a few people, and the people that were in my circle knew more about Canon.
Oh,
But
okay.
but I did come across videos on YouTube where people were talking about how Sony was superior for people who are really in the mix of like cameras and understanding how they all work. So I did again. I heard good things about Sony, and even better things of how it was superior to the Canon.
Interesting.
Yep. So anyway, so I had it on something like these.
Okay. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah. So you see
But dang, it's that big?
yeah, I mean, it has.
Oh, it's a clamp. Okay.
Yeah, it's a clamp. So I had it clamped on a desk, and then I had it like where the phone was. I think one of the webcams I actually had on over a phone. That was what was holding it up. And what I did was and then clamped it down to the desk, and then it was holding up the camera.
Okay.
So that's one option. So now you have both options. So you have the option of the Logitech Brio, 119 each. You got 3 of those. You'll be at whatever 360, and then figure out how to hold 2 out of the 3. Again, you might have one on your laptop already, and then you might have the other 2 on something like this or something else.
Okay.
All right. What else?
I guess the main thing is connecting it all as as far as like audio. So does the audio go into the video board, or how does that work? The video switcher.
It can the video switcher does have the functionality to have audio plugged into it, and it also has the ability to record from the video switcher itself. So here's something I learned, I think, after that. Here's something I wish I knew before, but I didn't, and then so I'm giving this to you now. So when you're looking at a video switcher, let me pull one up again. So let's do this. All right. So you see how you have the 195 version, and then you're gonna see one that's an ISO. Let me see if I can find that here. I know. Let me just type it in the top. So the ISO, what I learned what that is, or the extreme over here, is the difference between that is that if you record it, it can record the isolated channels at the same time, as opposed to just recording what you're projecting onto the screen. But again, that's for somebody if you're not necessarily live streaming, but you're recording, you want some of the raw footage separately, as opposed to what's recorded even inside of your software. It's just something. It's just where you can spend less on a video switcher, but it won't. It's like anything else. You get what you pay for. You won't have the functionality of something that's a little bit more that can do more. So if you wanted to save each individual channel into, again, whether your memory card, you'd want an ISO. If you just want to save whatever you're projecting, if you're on channel 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, then you would be fine with the cheaper option. The one I showed earlier, that was like around $200. You follow what I'm saying there?
So essentially, for an ISO, I would get all my video clips saved to their video cards and could edit how I feel like. But if I don't get the ISO, then I'll still get the content downloaded, but it'll just be like the one clip as it was live, like
Exactly.
switching.
That's right. That's right. You got it.
Well, that's
Then
my goal, is not to save the video. One, to save space, of course, but two, to I don't want to do all that editing, because it's just extremely discouraging to continue to create content when one video takes one. You
right,
know what
right,
I mean?
right,
Like
right,
one
right,
podcast takes hours. So,
right. Well, there's
so you're saying I could save money on not getting the Black Magic and getting a cheaper one?
right, 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 right. Are there's cheaper Black Magic one? Again, the one I showed you earlier, I think it was about $200 that we were looking at. The one I just pulled up, there's a $395 one. There's ones that go all the way up to $1,500. But right,
Oh,
so
so it's not even that expensive. Okay.
so you can have your audio pumped into the Black Magic so that it syncs it again, the audio with the video, or you can have a separate audio interface, which I have with I have the Rodecaster Pro 2. So
What's the benefit of that versus the other way?
so if you wanted intro music, so
Oh,
if you want to intro music again, like we heard the stuff earlier when I was like being able to press a button and the intro music's coming on. The good thing is this is not dragging my computer that we're on here, and it's also not dragging the computer that's sending it to the internet. Like, so let's say I could have the same audio, but if I was pulling it on the computer and all of a sudden it was dragging the computer, and now you were lagging because we're doing a virtual live stream together. So now when I put that sound effect or when I put that song on, the computer's gonna take some effort to be able to do that, and it might not be able to effectively manage both your guest on while it's also playing that song. And I've noticed, like, depending on how many tasks you give your computer to do, it's gonna have an impact on it depending on its ability as a computer. So that's one. But then you got to think through, if you're gonna have a separate device, how the audio all syncs together, if it's coming from different places. So if you can imagine my setup, it goes from the ATM Mini into computer one, and computer one goes into I have it projected onto a secondary computer, and I have the audio from this computer. So your audio is being pumped into computer one, and that's being synced over to the audio interface, and then it's all really confusing. And then
yeah.
so if you imagine the videos going from the camera to the video switcher to computer one, the audio is going from us into, so it's really complicated to say how the audio is working, but just for simplicity, so let me simplify this. It goes from you to the interface to the computer that's uploading this to the internet. So then you got to figure out how to sync it. So what you can do, like in your software programs, so if you're in OBS or if I'm in Ecamm Live, you can put how much of a delay you want your microphone to be. Like right now, actually I'm probably off a little bit from an audio perspective. Typically when I use this microphone, it's a different audio delay. So that's something else to figure out when you're live, is how much of a delay you have. So let me go.
You look like you're on pace with what you're saying now.
To you, but you and I are on one computer, but we're sending this to a second computer that's sending it to the internet. So if you pulled up like whatever, Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn or Twitter, I might be a little bit off. So this won't mean anything to you right now, but typically if I'm streaming with this mic, it's like an 11 frame of delay that I put onto Ecamm Live.
Okay, I was like, seconds, low.
No, it's the 11 frames. And then if I'm streaming with my mic that I have above me, that's like right up out of the shot. And let me see if you can see it here. Oh yeah, you can barely see it here. You see it, Matt? You see that?
Yeah.
If I'm streaming off of that shot, then it's 7 frames, and I'll just have a file that keeps whatever streaming audio, and I'll just pull it up just to remind myself, all right, when I'm streaming with this mic, it's 11 frames. When I'm streaming with that mic, it's 7 frames. But again, it's like these little details that you don't really know goes into the whole madness behind streaming. But to make it as good a product as you can.
Yeah. So you do all that extra stuff just so you can add music.
Music, sound effects,
Okay.
and again, if you're thinking about like the again, I've tried it different ways. Again, I've did a number of interviews without the Rodecaster Pro for a significant amount of time. Then I said, all right, let me level up the studio and add that piece to it. So yeah, sound effects, music, a little touch of the creative side. All right, what else you got? I know we got like 6 minutes.
So if I didn't want to add any of that stuff, and I can obviously do that later, feel like it, then I could just connect the audio and the video to the same video board, and it would sync.
Yes. So so for a microphone like this, I learned you can't just connect a microphone like this just into the computer. It's not a USB mic, but you need a secondary device to. It's I just call it it's a like an adapter to plug into the computer. So on the inexpensive side, I think what was mine called? There's a red one, red audio interface. Let me see if it comes up. Scarlett, there we go. So yeah, you have them right here. I'll pull them up on the screen real quick. So you have like this red Scarlett one on the right for $189. It takes the two microphones. So the microphones can't go directly into the laptop. They need an adapter to go into the laptop.
And you use that thing because it gives you more control rather than going straight to the laptop.
Well, it again, there's no plug. I guess there could be a plug. I don't know enough about the audio side of it, but if you think about how what is it, the XLR cables? Let me see what are those called. This is where you talk to people who know more about this, and that's what I talked to somebody who knew more audio than I did when I took him to help me shop for some of this stuff. But yeah, I think it's the XLR. The cables that plug into the microphone like this. But yeah, so if you just think about what plugs into that, is the microphone, and then in the backside is it's the interface going into your laptop. So you can connect this to the USB. So anyway, it just needs something in the middle of the microphone and your laptop. And here's something else I didn't realize either. And you need something else between. It is game the system, bro. You need a cloud filter for the microphone to go from the microphone to the interface. It's this right here. Okay, so just for the interface to pick it up, it needs a cloud filter. And for the computer to pick it up, it needs that interface. So there you go. Capitalism at its finest. You need this to get this, to get this, to get this.
All right, Zoom. Look like you're up.
That's
ridiculous.
No, in the beginning, bro, that's what it was. And it was just Zoom, bro. It was Zoom. And then the bad part about doing Zoom is somebody else might not have a good microphone and you have a good microphone. So your audio sounds good, but theirs does not sound good, and whole different issues. What else?
Maybe you could have like a rent a mic, and you could let them borrow a second mic. And I mean, that's cheaper. And if they keep it, well, it's still cheaper. They never give you your mic back.
I have seen some podcasts where they would like literally mail a mic to the guest, and I suppose with an outgoing box as well already paid for the shipping, so they just had to, after they do the interview, put it back in the box and ship it off. So, but you're gonna be
I
doing
like this.
but you're gonna be doing it in person, right? You're not gonna be doing virtual, or you are some
I
virtual.
don't know after all this. This sounds like this sounds like 5K. Less. I was thinking I could do something like around 2K, 3K.
Yeah, I mean, again, like on the beginning side, again, how much was your Yeti?
Like $100.
Yeah, so you have 3 cameras, and you have 2 Yetis plugged into the laptop. You use OBS. You don't have to get a video switcher. You don't have to get a Stream Deck. All you start with is the 3 cameras, the 2 mics, and you're good. You're good to go. Would you be using Wi-Fi there in the room, or do they have a what's that other cord called?
Ethernet? No,
Ethernet.
no. I think I'll be using Wi-Fi. But the whole purpose is, I don't think I'd want to have 3 cameras if I'm going to have to edit that. So I think like that's why I'm saying I would want the video switcher board.
No,
But
no,
if I'd add just the video switcher, I'm gonna have to add all this other stuff, or
no. The 3 cameras, you wouldn't have to edit it. Again, if you had the 3, if we're talking about 3 webcams, or even the 3,
webcams.
other cameras. Again, if you're live, or even if you're not live, are you thinking about doing live, or you are not live?
I would only consider live if it was easier. I'd like to be able to have it and edit it if need be.
Yeah. So if you're live, yeah, it's already whoever's gonna tune in is tuned in. You see it all live, and people could ask questions to your guests if they have some. Especially you've told me about some of your guests already, and they sound like interesting people that people might have a lot of questions for.
Yeah.
So that might be a good option. But either way, if you're doing live, you can do the video switcher, or if you're not doing live, then you can also not have to do the post editing by doing the different cuts with just 3 different buttons
With the webcams.
with the webcams. You wouldn't need a video switcher to be able to rock with it.
Okay. So with webcams, lighting is going to be 20 times more important, I feel like. And I already know the soft lights that I can buy for that on Amazon.
Actually, it has some soft lights that you can come grab from me. I have 2 that you can just grab and have.
Gosh, what a guy. God bless you, Derek.
Yeah, man. Glad to help. They're what do you call them? Like softbox?
Yeah, I had 2 of them. I don't know how they ran away, but
Yeah. You can come grab them. And
2 soft boxes. So 3 webcams, something to put the webcams on. OBS would do the switching through my bindings that I'd put through OBS or whatever
your
app.
hotkeys, yeah.
Hotkeys. And I have one by another mic, and then grab your soft lights, and that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, bare bones. Yep.
This is like $500-$600 maybe. Then.
Yeah, man.
And you think the webcams would look good with the right lighting? Like they're good enough? Because I got light on like this right now, and this looks terrible. But this is like a Chromebook webcam. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, like again, I don't know the setup for the room, but
The room has lighting.
But yeah, I mean,
decent.
And then you can work your way up. And as far as again your ability to be mobile with it, again, like you
That's
have
true.
those 3 small webcams. Again, they're like that big, 3 of them. You have your 2 mics, and then you might have to get a secondary, like I said, that CalDigit thing if it's all causing too much drag on the computer, especially if you're doing live. You'll see it live, like if you get a chance to do some trial runs as far as how it transfers over, and you could even do a live to a private. Again, a private Facebook group or whatever, or private, or even on your account where it's only to you, to see what the quality is on the other side. And you could also, OBS also lets you figure out if you need to delay your mic to let it sync up on the live stuff. So again, like you don't know like all the stuff that's happening behind the scenes, but I would be like over here clapping to figure out if my clap is aligned with the sound on the live stream.
Yeah.
But it's to make it all seamless.
So what you're saying is like my first stream or two, you're gonna be there to help. Perfect.
Yeah, man. Glad to serve. Glad to help.
How much do you charge?
I mean, I charge $5,000 an hour, but if you're saying this is a gift of generosity, the Bible tells me if the generous man will prosper, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. So if this is generosity, then I know God's going to take care of me regardless.
Let's go, Jesus. Jesus with the biggest coupon ever, 5K, Jesus? Okay, I didn't know it was Black Friday. Okay.
All right. I think you're at time. Are you? Yeah. You're 4 minutes over. All right. Anything else, brother?
What are you going to talk about after I leave?
No, I think I'm done, man. My grass is burning, so I feel like I gotta like go outside and just give it another water.
Okay.
So I gotta put some more water on that grass outside to make sure. There's somebody who laid some new grass in my neighborhood, and I think they got the best grass in the neighborhood now. But I'm just at this point, I'm not even trying to be the best. I just don't want to be raggedy in my neighborhood. So
you don't want to shame
yeah.
the rest of your neighborhood. Okay, brother. Well, thank you so much, man. That's a lot of help, and I'm sure I'll be in touch with you soon for execution.
All right. All right, everybody.
All right, brother.
If you have questions for me about streaming, I know I can talk more about equipment. There's a lot of, if you all saw all the cords and wires and all the mess that's behind over here, it would concern you that a fire was about to break out anytime here. But anyway, Matt, appreciate you, brother, and look forward to seeing your success with the pod. Do you already know the name? Or is it the Matt Geis Experience?
No, I'm gonna switch my Instagram to more personal, and then I'll continue the name Blessed Talks. So I wanted to have like a spiritual focus, or it's just straight up religious at times, going into things with the Bible and stuff. And then there's some secular stuff as well, but hopefully all the material is a blessing to people. That's what I aim to try and be. So yeah, Blessed Talks.
Let's talk. All right, respect, brother, respect.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
Man. Well, appreciate you. Have a good night. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Peace.